Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Star Realms Diaries, featuring me, Jarenth, and Ranneko. The previous two installments of this series were sort of popular, so we figured it was about high time to do another one of these. Specifically, what prompted us to get back into the Star Realms game, or well, not get back into, we've been playing it pretty non-stop, but to get back into talking about Star Realms is the release of the first expansion for the digital app. The Gambits expansion for Star Realms adds a bunch of new ships and bases, and most interestingly, a number of Gambit cards, which, you know what, I'll just go into the game and explain them that way. As you can see, Ranneko and I have just started this new game. I'm gonna go first. And if you've been watching our previous videos, you'll immediately notice the very new element of these two cards here, and these two cards here. Now, these are Gambits, and what Gambits are cards that usually give you a little one-shot effect that you can trigger at any moment during your own turn. So for instance, this Gambit, Rise to Power, I can discard it at any time to gain 8 authority points and draw 1 card. Now there's about 8 or 10 different Gambits, and at the start of every game with Gambits, each player is assigned 2 of these randomly. So the ones that I have are, again, Rise to Power here, which is pretty decent. It's mostly just good to draw an extra card. The Authority can keep me out of a tight scrape, I think, but I've never really used it that way. And Energy Shield, which is actually one of the Gambits that has a permanent effect as well. Energy Shield is really good, as you can see. It basically reduces damage by 1 as long as it's in play, and I can sacrifice it at any moment to draw 1 card, kind of a clutch play thing. Ranneko, on the other hand, has Salvage Operation, which allows him to put 1 card from his discard pile on top of his deck, which I've seen situational usefulness out of, but I wouldn't really know what the intended play for it is. And Smuggling Run, which is really good, because it basically gives him a 4 cost or less card for free. Gambits are fun. They're changing up the established way of thinking about how Star Realms operates. They also kind of unbalance the game a little bit, because, like I said, Smuggling Run is really good. There's a Gambit that gets you 1 extra attack point every turn, which is quite powerful. Energy Shield here is quite good. And then there's a Gambit that just gives you 2 trade, which is essentially worthless. So yeah, let's get started. Now, what can I do for 3 trade? I can get Blob Wheel, which is neat. I've been coming around to Blob Wheel. I used to not like it, but it's a pretty decent base that gets overlooked by enemies attacking you. 5 health is nothing to scoff at. I can get Battle Station, but what I'm actually gonna get is this new ship, Merc Cruiser. You see that it's unaligned, like the Explorer, like the Scout, like the Viper. But Merc Cruiser's unique ability is that it can be any faction at once every time you play it, which, as you can imagine, is incredibly useful for triggering ally bonuses in a varied deck. And because there's not really anything I want more than the Merc Cruiser, I'm just gonna go and buy that. Whoosh. The animations and the sound effects for Star Realms have changed a little bit with the Gambit update as well. As you can see, wait, suddenly all cards are put out in one go. And this is not particularly great, but we'll see what happens. If I know Ranneko, he'll probably get the freighter for free and then see what happens, or buy the freighter and then buy one of the bases that pops up. Smuggling Run is really good to get an early game advantage. So if I had that card, I would have used it for the freighter. But I don't, and it's kind of meaningless to overly... Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. Look behind the curtains, viewers. I was gonna say it's meaningless to speculate about this too much, so let's just move the turn ahead to Ranneko and see what he does. Over to you.
Hey Internet, we're back. It's time for another round of the Star Realms Diaries. As Jarenth will have mentioned in the introduction, there's been an expansion put out for this game, which means there's new cards. and there's this new thing called gambits. I kind of screwed up. I play this game not just on my computer, but also on my phone, and did the first turn of this game without really thinking about it on my phone. So instead of going through it as it plays, you're just going to get a replay of my turn, which will be pretty quick because it's all done automatically. So I started, I had 4 buy, so I could buy the freighter, and I had a salvage run gambit card here, which I decided to use because that would allow me to put the freighter that I just bought straight on the top of my deck, giving me 7 buy for my next turn. Giving me somewhere between 7 and 8 buy. I was hoping for 8 because then I could have gone for a turn 2 fleet HQ, which seems pretty great, but unfortunately I just missed out on that. Gambit cards are kind of interesting because you get 2 random cards. I find they really speed up the early part of the game, or they have the potential to do that, because they give you a lot of card draw or free card acquisition. Yeah, we'll see how it all goes. Over to Jarenth.
Alright, and then I forgot to turn my microphone on. But basically what I was talking about, what you didn't hear, is that what it's looking like right now, with Ranneko having bought the freighter, is that there's a really good chance of him getting the fleet HQ. And if he gets the fleet HQ, I am pretty boned. Because the fleet HQ is a pretty good card early on. It loses some steam later, but basically if you have 5 ships in your hand, it gives you 5 extra attack. If you have more card draw, it gives you even more attack. And early in the game, it is almost impossible to beat without dedicated damage cards. So if he has it in his discard pile, he could have it in his discard pile at the end of next turn. And then the turn after that... I mean, not next turn, but the turn after that. Anyway, he could have it in his discard pile in 2 turns. And he could basically draw it in 3-4 turns. And in 4 turns, I don't know if I'll have enough cards to reliably defeat a base of 8 points. So in order to build to that, I bought this blob fighter here, which, it's okay. I like blob fighters. They deal reasonable damage for a card of 1 point. And I already have the Merc Cruiser, this one, which will trigger the blob fighter's draw card ability if I get both of them at the same time. That would be neat. And I also got this here Explorer, because why not? Now, I know Ranneko, and I know he's not big into bases, so he might, even if he gets the freighter, which he salvaged, which is actually why he could get it this turn. I remember now. He put the freighter on top of his deck, which means that it's definitely in his hand right now, which means that there is a 80% chance, more or less, give or take, of him having enough material to buy that. It's not 80%. Don't correct me on this. If I had a calculator, I could calculate it. But there is a significant chance that he has enough to buy the fleet HQ, and I'm assuming that's the reason he did so. Now you'll see that I didn't actually take any damage. I'm pretty sure Ranneko pointed this out as well, but just in case, that's the power of my energy shield. He only had 1 Viper to attack with, which means he had 0 Vipers to attack with. It's not much, but it basically, every turn he attacks, it's essentially 1 free health every turn he does attack, which makes it very useful into the late game. And Ranneko's gambits are both single use, so he can actually use these really well. He could have also used Smuggling Run to get the freighter instead of the other gambit, instead of just buying it. But he'll probably use Smuggling Run either this turn or the one after that. And my Rise to Power is just a straight boost and 1 card, which I'll use if I really need that additional card. But Energy Shield remains useful very long. So on the one hand, we have my Energy Shield. On the other hand, we have the high possibility of Ranneko getting the Fleet HQ. We'll see which one wins out in the end. Over to you.
And back to me. 3 buy and 2 damage to my face. Okay, I've got 7. Kinda tempted to just grab Battle Mech here. Battle Mech or Junkyard. Battle Mech and Explorer would probably be the better deal, overall. It's more efficient. Yeah, let's do that. Well, there was nothing I could... Well, if I gotten Blob World or Battle Station, I guess I could have bought that and Star Market, which also would have been a pretty good setup. One of the things that the expansion adds is a cycle of bases that are kind of interesting because they only trigger if you played a base this turn. They tend to have really powerful effects, so like Star Market in this example gives 5 authority or 3 buy, which is really good. But you need to actually have played something, played a base that turn to trigger it. And it's pretty good. I really like them as a concept, and they've really encouraged me to spend more on bases. So the yellow one is a base that gets you to draw a card if you played a base that turn. The red one is the Oblivion Fortress. It's a bit like a slightly weaker battle station, except that its activated ability is to scrap a card. And then the blob one is Breeding Pits, and it just straight up does 5 damage if a base was played that turn. And so it's a really big incentive to just fill your deck with bases. And I could, in fact, still get one, because I can use my Smuggling Run Gambit to get a card of cost 4. But unfortunately, no real point. It's not quite good enough for me to lose the ability to pick up, say, a Stealth Needle off the bat. Now, Jarenth's next turn, he's just cycled his deck. He's not improved his buy situation very much, but he can do a lot more damage to me. At this point, I've done absolutely no damage to Jarenth, and that's not going to change because of his energy shield. So that just cuts 1 damage off the amount that he takes whenever I use attack. So one of the interesting things about that is it really actually does impact order of operations. So let's say I had an Explorer out instead of this Scout. If I'd hit him and then scrapped the Explorer and hit him again, he would have taken a total of 1 damage. But so I need to remember to have all of my damage on the table when I do my attacks. Otherwise, I'm just leaving some points on the table. Alright, well, I'll pass it back to Jarenth. Bye.
Alright, let's see if I was right. Whew. Well, that could have been much worse. Still not optimal, I like that battle mic, but man, Fleet HQ. Let's see. So one of the new cards in the Gambit expansion is, well, there are 4 new cards, which all of them are bases. This is the Trade Federation version, and they all have the line, if you play the base this turn, do something. And these cards are very powerful. I've noticed that players who tend to gather up these kinds of bases have a very strong late game, because you can see all except the red one, the Machine Cult one, are not outposts, so it's easy to ignore them, particularly because they're very strong. And the notion is that if you just play them, the player gets the benefit once and then the base stays on the ground and it never does anything again. And that's a nice idea, but it obviously doesn't really work out that way when the player gets another base, like this battle station, which is an outpost, which you have to destroy. And there's multiples of each of these special bases in the deck. I know for a fact there's 2 Star Markets. So I've had multiple games where the enemies had Star Markets and outposts, Omegas, and blob spawning grounds, and just they would play an outpost and get extra health and extra damage and extra cards and I don't even know what. And then I'd have to destroy the outpost to get through, and the next time they'd play the outpost again. So I'm hoping that's actually what I'll be able to do this time. I'll get the Star Market and maybe some other bases too, and hope that will allow me to get some more stuff. with my next hand I will probably be able to at least get a battle station or a blob wheel. I'm coming around to blob wheel. I like blob wheel, particularly with a lot of blob cards. It could be a really good card to have. And I don't really have anything else. So that's my plan, basically. This is also a very good card. The Ark is the Machine Cult's new 7-power card, 7-power ship. Because that's what many factions were lacking, high-power ships at the expensive range. As you can see, the Ark is basically just a flying brain world, which makes it really good. And I wish I could buy that, and I'm pretty sure Ranneko wishes she could have bought that as well. But alas, I'm not going to be able to get it, and I don't think Ranneko will be able to get it. He might, but I'm hoping that'll work out. We'll see how it works out.
My turn. What's Jarenth doing? He is hitting me for free and buying Star Market. Star Market is really handy, so don't blame him for grabbing that. I kind of regret not using my cards to my smuggling run to grab it, honestly. As long as certain other cards aren't popping up, I'll grab Blob World here. And that's why you keep smuggling run around. And Explorer. So, that bit I said about not using smuggling run to grab Star Market, totally take that back. That was definitely the right call. And Jarenth can have at most 6 buy. Means he still can't quite grab the Ark without using one of his gambits, which he does have available. And the Ark is probably the most prime piece on the board here. Here, I could potentially get enough for an Ark. It's actually easier. I only need 3 cards, or 4 cards in the case of not getting the Explorer, but we'll see. Let's see what my next turn is. I do have enough to get the Ark. Excellent. And I can thin out my deck. That's always good to see. So we'll see if Jarenth pips me to that, because that's definitely what I've been trying to build towards right now. So, yeah. Over to him.
Alright, let's see what we got. Trade. Ah, that hurts me a lot. He got the Stealth Needle. And sure, there's not a whole lot he can copy with it right now, but it still hurts. But what you gonna do? There is a lot of expensive cards on the field, and I do not have a lot of trade boosting except that base. I could draw an additional card and go from my 5 to 6, and that wouldn't help me in the slightest. Or, yeah, that's it. I can only get a maximum of 6, so let's not do that. Explorers are missiles. Use them always. Guess I'm getting this battle station. Ooh. Guess I'm getting this cutter. And I guess I'm putting Ranneko on the nose and seeing what I get for next turn. Not a whole lot of much, but we'll see how the game plays out.
My turn. The Jarenth has 5 buy, battle station, and cutter. That's a pretty good turn, but not as good as my turn is going to be. So firstly, let's scrap a scout. Don't need scouts so much. And then, 7 buy, Ark. Ark is another new ship. Ark is a bit like the Brain World, except not a base. So it lets me scrap up to 2 cards from my hand or discard pile and draw that number of cards. I'm pretty happy with it. Let's do the first lot of damage to Jarenth. Boop. And new turn. There we go. It's one of the worst hands to get the Stealth Needle in, but on the other hand, at least I've still got the Explorer, which means I'll have a total of 6 buy, assuming no forced discards. Which means I'll probably grab a Battle Screecher and maybe another Explorer, we'll see. Jarenth has a fair amount of damage coming up, and he's got up to 3 Fed cards. Fortunately, there are no more Fed cards for him to pick up, so I suspect he will also go for the Battle Screecher, so I don't think that's likely for me to have available to me. Oh well. Over to Jarenth.
Well, that could have gone a lot better, actually. I am very ambivalent about the freighter. It allows you to get very powerful ships, if there are powerful ships. Otherwise, it's just a lot of trade that you don't really need. Unfortunately for me, and fortunately for Ranneko, there are actually some really expensive cards on the field, and he'll be able to get them, and I won't, on account of how little money I actually have. So that kind of sucks. Let's see, I could try for the Battle Screecher. If I use my Rise to Power to draw a card, there is a 3 in 10 chance of it sucking. Otherwise I'll be able to get it. I like those odds. Bah! Wait, that's not bad. Because I can do this. Ah, are you kidding me? That is the dumbest bullshit. Oh well, put Ranneko on the nose, get an Explorer, because that's something. Oh, and now I get cards. And they're still not good enough to get anything but the Battle Screecher. I didn't need your trade anyway. Frassa.
Alright, what's Jarenth done? Healed and hit me for more than I would like. Ah, he couldn't grab Battle Screecher. I really need something to get in his way. I always do that. I always want to use Stealth Needle on a card in my hand. And it's only a card you've already played. That said, I'm going to buy Battle Screecher because right now my chances are best at getting some of the more expensive bases, and so I'd rather he can't just take them out from in front of me. Ah, okay, that should work out pretty well. The next turn I can use the Arc to get rid of a couple of scouts and draw, hopefully, a couple of scouts. Worst case scenario is the Blob World, which I can at least redeem because I want to grab Brain World next turn. Because that also has a nice 6 defense to get in the way. Second worst case scenario is grabbing Battle Mech, which actually isn't all that bad because I can then use it to scrap the Viper and draw a card. So yeah, my key problem right now is just the sheer difference in health between us.
Yeah, he has the Stealth Needle. Well, that's the best possible Stealth Needle outcome I could have hoped for. Which is to say that it's not a Battle Mech, or the Arc, or even a Battle Screecher. In return, I shall retaliate with this incredibly limp getting one card, and not actually doing anything with my battle station. So yeah, back to you.
And back to me. Yep, that was about what I expected. Although he didn't get to hit me, so that's always nice. Now, Arc. Get to use the Arc to scrap a couple of scouts. And the scouts draw me. Okay, Battle Mech, so scrap the Viper. Draws me that. That was not exactly an ideal set. That said, I think I'm still gonna... I'm not gonna scrap it, I'm gonna grab Machine Base. And... hit Jarenth. And see what I can grab. Alrighty. Yeah, so next turn I'll have more money. Deck cycles, and I get the Arc again. Yeah, so I'm rapidly thinning the deck here, which should hopefully help me catch up somewhat, but we'll see how it all goes. Alrighty, and Jarenth is, you know, pulling ahead in some ways. He can heal a fair amount, but he has a lot more crap in his deck than I do, which should help me keep some distance between us, I guess. Oh, over to him.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. My battle station. I mean, I'm glad Ranneko got the machine base. It's actually called machine base, huh? I would have preferred him not to get that, but I more would have preferred him not to get Brain World or Fleet HQ. Because now, let's see, I am at 5-7. Bah! Why 7? Alright, what I mean to say is that I can get a maximum of 7 trade points, so I could get the junkyard or the trading post if I so choose. I'm gonna go for trading post, I think. And let's see, do I want a missile bot or do I want 5 health? I'll go for the missile ball. And this Federation channel. And then... boop. Oh, now I get 6. Well, I might get the junkyard next turn after all, assuming Ranneko does actually steal the battle cruiser. But we'll see how that plays out.
My turn. What did Jarenth do? He got a lot of money and bought many things. That seems like a thing he would do. Good thing he didn't get maximum value out of the star market. Ooh. Ooh. Let's do this. Okay, that's really thinning out my deck. You know what? Let's also do this. Select the Arc to copy, because it's a better card. And scrap both of these. Machine base, and then I've got a bit of money. I'm not going to risk drawing and scrapping the same card, but I'm kind of tempted to now scrap Blob Wheel to buy a Battle Cruiser, because that will give me more draw, and it also is a nice card to have in conjunction with Stealth Needle. So scrap this, grab Battle Cruiser. Jarenth doesn't have any more bases in hand, which means that what I'm going to do here is pop that and just do 10 damage straight to his face. Because he has to cycle his deck before Star Market can be useful again. What I ideally want to do is next turn, not next turn but the turn after, I want to take out Star Market. And then it will go into his discard pile after he's drawn all of his other bases. We'll see if that, is viable. But, yeah. And Machine Base is really just there to be a big butt. Oh wow. Yet again with the Arc. I guess this is less surprising when I have so few cards in my deck. But that's still pretty handy. And I'm going to need to start grabbing some more things from the table. But yeah, this is looking up. Over to Jarenth.
Oh, this is bad. Oral. Oh, this is very bad. I am anything but happy with this. Yep. Well, I saw that coming and it still sucks. Ugh. Yeah. Now Ranneko has an incredibly tiny deck of powerful cards. And wow, yeah. There's not a whole lot I can do about this. He's just going to beat me to death in a couple turns. Well played, Ranneko, well played. Meanwhile, I have this garbage, which doesn't even really reliably punch through his machine-based deck. Well, calling it now, Ranneko is probably winning this one.
My turn. Defense center and discard the explorer for no value. Excellent. That's the kind of thing I want to see. I'm not actually going to use Machine Base's ability even once, because I don't want to scrap any cards from my hand. Okay, now what I want to do here is play out the freighter. Well, I have 6 cards. Interesting. I might as well also grab there's nothing here for me to buy. I think I'm gonna grab the Blob World, because that'll also trigger the Battle Screecher. So copy the freighter, so I can grab Blob World. Then I will draw this. I will not use that ability. Means that I draw Blob World, Battle Screecher. Let's scrap everything. I have 2 buy. So here it gets slightly trickier actually. Because with the 2 buy I can grab this Fed Shuttle. Actually no, that can go on top, that's fine. And then I'm just going to go for straight damage, I think. Yep, straight damage it is. Boom. It's 24, that's pretty nice. Bye bye. There we go. I think I've evened things out a little bit. So let's see how we do. I know that Machine Base still hasn't used abilities to use already. So next turn, we'll see what Jarenth can do. He can heal 4 and take out the Machine Base, but not Blob World. I am probably going to buy a couple of Explorers, so I can scrap them with the Arc and draw my other cards. At this point, I can just put so much damage on the table that Jarenth is kind of ruined. And that's all I want to do. I just want to take him out. And I've got the cards to do it. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to win this game. Alright, over to him. Let's see if he can pull a fast one.
Oh boy, he gets to scrap even more stuff. And Blob World. And Blob World. Well. Yeah. It's not entirely unlikely that for every given draw, Ranneko is now going to get all of this. Meanwhile, I have this. I can do him 1 damage. Yeah, this is more or less a foregone conclusion. Let's just play it out until the inevitable defeat that I'm gonna face down.
Okay, what did Jarenth get up to now? He took out my starbase and did a small amount of damage to my face. That's not unexpected, really? Okay, I have 6 buy. So, can't really get that starbase back this turn unless I do something kind of dumb. In any case, I also have on the table 14 damage, and I could grab another 7. That puts me at 21. Is that going to be enough? Well, it's not. Obviously, it's not going to quite be enough. But what can I do? If I grab this, I can then also fuel. Oh wait, sorry, 5 here. Sorry, let's see. That's 10, 14. No, I already did include that. So, what I can do is I can put these 2 out, grab the RAM, draw the ram out. Okay. Then I can play the ram, get 3 more coins. This is important because I can then grab the 2 explorers, use the arc to kill 2 explorers, and draw my remaining 2 cards. There we go. Now I have enough to kill Jarenth. Sorry, Jarenth, but you're going down. I will just scrap everything. I didn't grab the supply button because it is my responsibility to make this as big and flashy as I can. And then I can let's see. I can afford this, so I'll grab this. Then I can copy the battle cruiser, grab the frigate, grab the battle mech, might as well put machine base back out, and everything is done. Grab the extra damage here. In fact, then why not just add another couple of points to the stack. Here I'm just, pulling out what I can to make it all the bigger. And there we go. That's good. That feels good. I'm sure it doesn't feel quite as nice on Jarenth's end. This is how the game can go. The fact that I was able to get both Stealth Needle and the Arc really transformed that game for me, because I was just able to get rid of every junk card I had. Especially when I cycled my deck and immediately redrew the Arc. It just meant that I had no useless cards left. I still had a little bit of coin in my deck, which meant that I could buy cards to still fuel the Arc, which is a really handy tactic. I mean, it also works with the Brain World, and yeah, that's just how it rolls. That I'm not sure there was much that Jarenth could do to stop me at that point. I'm not entirely sure how he could have changed that game around, but I'm sure he has some thoughts on it, so I'll turn it over to him and let him talk a bit. I've had fun playing this. I always have fun playing Star Realms. There's a reason why I played so much of it. But yeah, each game's different. Over to Jarenth.
This is not gonna end well. I already know it's not gonna end well, because I saw that I lost with like -22, but yeah. Yep. Why is he scrapping the trader? Was I just... Oh, whatever. As you can see, I am about to get destroyed. I'll allow Ranneko the honor of gloating over my incredible demise. But yeah, this was a fun game that looked like it was going my way, and then suddenly it wasn't. Very much a demonstration of the power of scrapping and the power of some of the new cards and gambits. The Gambit expansion for Star Realms has only been out for a little while, and I'm finding that a lot of the strategies that I used to use to reliably win are going out the window. So this one, for instance, what Ranneko did with the Arc and with the Stealth Needle is a new combo that is incredibly powerful. It's supplanting some of the older, more powerful cards. And yeah, just well played in general is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Ranneko made the better calls and got the better cards and beat me into a pulp, even though I had the magnificent energy shield. Of course, this is only one way the gambits and the new cards can play out, and you haven't even seen the incredible power of base stacking. So maybe we'll play again, and maybe I'll actually win again. Or maybe the onset of gambits means that Ranneko will now win forever and always. We'll see how it goes. In the meantime, thank you for watching, we hope you enjoyed it, and maybe see you next time.